Before we talk Barcelona-Valencia, I think we should start with the Barcelona match today that probably had the most importance as far as winning a trophy, and that is to say that the Barcelona first team, because they beat Valencia, are still on their way to a trophy. If they had lost, well, it'd be a different story. But I think the headline, because all three won today, that being the Barça Femení, Barça B, and the first team. Let's start with the Femení. Moving on to the final of the Champions League, courtesy a brace from Lucky Martins. This was a tough one. It was a nail-biter, but congratulations to the Barça Femení, who on March 16th will be playing in another UEFA Champions League final. However, this time against Chelsea, I think the Femení are closer than they have ever been to that trophy. We're going to have previews. We're going to talk about it on the podcast, so look out for Femení content coming your way. This is a pretty good story. Barça B, meanwhile, have reached the promotion playoffs for the second straight year, doing so through this makeshift second phase to even out the divisions. Nevertheless, doesn't matter. Barça B getting the results. Ray Minaj and Carmen de la Fuente got the goals today. Carmen de la Fuente now in really, really good form. Okay, on to the first team playing against Valencia. The only change to the Gala 11 is Mingueza getting a rest for Araujo, who was Barcelona's best defender while Piqué was out before he himself got injured, so he does deserve some starts and minutes. Pedri, Lenglet, and Dest all back in. Schroeder, the biggest change on the touchline, instead of Koeman, who was serving that two-match ban for the red card. Valencia, meanwhile, under Javi Gracia, very defensive with Lato and Terry Correa both starting, along with Gaia and Vaz. So Lato playing as basically a third center back in what was usually a 5-3-2 defending, and then they would switch to a back four at times. Gaia was basically playing as a left winger, and then Vaz all over the field, especially in the middle, where he can also play as right back, where he did kind of slip in to defend sometimes too. Third minute was the best chance of the first half for Barcelona. A Pedri shot wide, should have been a goal here for the 18-year-old. Terrific build-up through Messi, then on to Griezmann, and his pass splitting to De Jong. De Jong laid on a platter for Pedri, but the 18-year-old couldn't finish. Nevertheless, we move on. 13th minute, Araujo on the set piece. Silesen just gets a shoulder on it, and Barca peppering Valencia with chances. Then the 20th minute comes. Valencia punch back a little bit. They get a counter-attack. Araujo misjudges the tackle, and it leads to Gaia's shot. Dest didn't track him all the way back after losing the ball himself, and Dest didn't really take Gaia on 1v1. Positionally, I thought that was the most interesting nuance of this first half. Both teams using the side that Dest and Gaia were playing on as the place where they would play their numbers games. For Valencia, it was all about giving Gaia the most space he had to roam. That meant that Araujo had to stick with him and prepare for when Gaia was able to get in behind Dest, and that was where Valencia found their biggest pockets of space, was in between Dest and Araujo sometimes struggled with Gaia. He does have an argument to be the best left back in Spain, if not for Jordi Alba, maybe on the other side. Dest, meanwhile, wasn't often taking Gaia one-on-one, so the times when Gaia did stop him and hold him up in that position, Valencia were off to the races, and I think it was on purpose that Dest was just supposed to be a supportive run and sometimes trying to make those sprints into the half spaces to open up space for the other attackers. The other nuance defensively for Valencia was that Guedes was man-marking Busquets, and that meant that he was also getting in behind him on counters when Busquets would step up to try to keep possession in as Barcelona looked to press. The other option, if not for Guedes up the middle, was playing long to Maxi Gomez, and usually Piqué had that covered. There were a number of build-ups for Barcelona down the left side. This is where the numerical overloads were for Barcelona, and that's why they had so many crosses. And of course you heard calls that if there was a proper number 9 for Barcelona, they probably would have been up 3-0 at the half. Nevertheless, Barcelona I thought were on the front foot through the first 45 minutes of this game. But on to the second half, Valencia are the ones to break through. After an important save by Ter Stegen, the following corner, Gabriel Paulista gets around Lenglet, and Correa and Ter Stegen bump into each other. Ter Stegen, I thought, just kind of allowed this sandwich to happen, and you can't trust the whistle on these kind of things, and Valencia make Barcelona pay. That said, Barca had a terrific response to this 56-minute easy penalty call, handball on Lato, and quite simple too, all because Messi saw De Jong making a run in behind, and then chipping it over, and the handball for Lato, nothing he could do, or probably would have been a goal by De Jong anyway. Messi on the penalty gets stopped by Silesen, but Busquets reads it well, puts it back in, Pedri shot blocked, and Messi able to finish on the doorstep. It was a poor penalty from the Argentine Messi, but number 27 counts all the same. 63rd minute, it's still Barcelona. Now Lato ready to go off with an injury, and before the sub can come on, the Blaugrana taking advantage of that situation. Alba too much space out on the left, finds De Jong on the back post, and while Silesen makes a good stop with his hand, Gabriel Paulista didn't track Griezmann, and it's an easy finish for the Frenchman's 12th league goal of the season. 6 minutes after that, the Messi free kick. This should have been what ended this match. There was more to come, sure, but this felt at that moment that Valencia had the win taken out of their sails. Messi did have a few chances earlier on. For this one, Valencia puts a 4-man wall out. There was not much of anything the 4-man wall could do, and Silson had everything but the inside of the post covered, and that's just where Messi hits it for the goal. 28 goals for Messi. At the start of this one, we felt like maybe the Pichichi race was still on, but after this one, a 28, there's a long way to go for Karim Benzema to finally catch Messi, and I don't think it's going to happen. Put another trophy in Messi's trophy case. 75th minute, ES Moriba on for Pedri, and Roberto on for Dest. Not ES Moriba's best performance here closing out this match, and Roberto not really adding too much either. The call might be that Roberto has the experience to close out these matches, but Roberto still isn't really fully match fit, and you could say it's his overall dynamic, but I'm not sure of that. I just think that Roberto has not really gotten comfortable since his latest injury. He's been out for almost 75% of this season. So Valencia winds up getting back on the front foot. I also thought Barca, just as they have against Getafe, just as they had, against Granada, obviously it goes poorly, but Barca have had a hard time closing out matches recently. In 82nd minute, Carlos Soler, Valencia's most influential player, makes it interesting. It's a handball shout on the other side, but Valencia don't care too much. They come back the other way. Barca give the ball away on a throw-in. Griezmann and ES Moriba, not too great for them. Don't find their shape either, and Carlos Soler rockets a shot into the top corner past Ter Stegen. Barcelona were able to hang on, though. Ter Stegen wasn't great today, and there were holes, but this shootout is unsurprising given the history between these two clubs. Thankfully, Messi was fantastic in the second half. Griezmann was on target. De Jong's movement was sublime. I should probably have talked more about that, but his runs, as I've been talking about all season long, as that box-to-box midfielder, being the real presence in the box, allowing Griezmann to make runs off him, therefore creating space for Messi. And then Pedri's work rate was never ending as well, coming back into the starting lineup today. The 18-year-old was ever on the field. And so Barca were just good enough to keep themselves in the league race and make sure that even though it's not in their hands, next week it could go to any four of the big giants, Sevilla, Atleti, Real Madrid, or Barcelona, depending on what happens in those two matches. Barcelona, by the way, have not won a Liga match at Mestalla since 2016. It felt like it was shorter time than that, but no, it's been that long. It was a 3-2 scoreline that day too. Koeman, meanwhile, had not won at the Mestalla since he was the manager of Valencia back in March of 2008. Valencia beat Barcelona 3-2 in the Copa del Rey, though I'm not sure if that record actually ends because Koeman wasn't actually on the sideline, but it was a Koeman-led team, so who knows if that changes anything. Another final stat I want to leave you with, in each of the previous 12 Liga seasons, the team with the most away points end up winning the title, and at the moment, that is still FC Barcelona, and that might be a reminder that Real Madrid, Atleti, and Sevilla, just like Barcelona, feel like they're limping their way to the finish line. The other three are doing the same, and this Liga race is up for grabs. So we will have the podcast this week. We're going to be talking about the Barça Femení because they have done their job and gotten to the final. And of course, the Barcelona first team is still in the race for the Liga trophy, facing off against Atleti in maybe the biggest match of the season. So that'll wrap up this one. Thanks so much for everyone for subscribing and doing all that you do. And until next time, Forza Barça.